My brother claims that my parents played favorites. He's 6 years older than me, and he claims that every time we got into a fight, I would run behind my mom's legs and mom would always take my side. Now, I don't think he's right because he's my brother and he really doesn't know anything, but that's besides the point. Favoritism is kind of funny looking back, but if you've ever been in the middle of it, it's the opposite of funny. If your boss has played favorites, or if your parents actually played favorites and you were the neglected child, there's nothing funny. It's actually very damaging to pick one person above another. But the worst is when people play favorites in church. When love and attention and respect and listening ears are given to these people, but not to these people. That's what James is talking about in chapter 2 when he writes, "My brothers and sisters, believers in our glorious Lord Jesus Christ must not show favoritism." He talks about how easy it was for the first century church to give attention to rich people who came into their gatherings and to ignore the poor people who couldn't give them much. Now, I'm not sure if you as a Christian or your church struggles with that kind of favoritism, but a type of favoritism that you might struggle with has to do with personality. If there are some personalities that you feel like you're giving and giving, but you don't get much from, people who you find kind of socially awkward and it's tough to have conversations, well, even in church, it might be easy to avoid those kind of people and play favorites. And James says, my dear brothers and sisters, don't. We can't have the church become like a middle school. We have to love people in all their awkwardness and brokenness and sin. We must show the same kind of love that we have to our best friend, the person who makes us laugh, as the person who challenges us with patience and kindness. And here's why. James says, because we are believers in our glorious Lord Jesus Christ. The one thing that Jesus never did was play favorites. He didn't look at the people who were good and say, I'll love them, and then look at people like me and say, but I can't love him. No, Jesus gave his life not just for some people, but for all people. And he gives forgiveness not just for a tiny percentage of the popular kids in church, but for all of the people that God is reaching out to in love. And if you remember that, as James says, you won't show favorites, and your love will truly be unconditional. Your love will be filled with grace. We have heard so many great stories of people whose lives have been changed by the message of grace that we share on this program. And we would love to have your support. Your comments and shares have meant the world to us. But if God has moved your heart to give to support the production of these messages, we'd love to give you the chance to do just that. Whether it's a one-time gift or a recurring donation, you can find a link on our website to learn how you can support the spread of this message so that more and more lives can be changed by the grace that God gives to each and every one of us.